Speed of response is critical in our methods because we need the aeration going quickly. Any fall in DO levels will cause the bugs to start dying off and just stop the treatment.
If we don't get the aeration required in a timely manner, it will be increased operational costs such as tankering, more importantly, works compliance issues where we may go out of permit and pollute.
The worst case scenario if we were to lose treatment is a £1.5 million fine.
That's why rapid response is so critical and why we work hard at Corgin to get these sites back up and running as quickly as possible.
It was a Friday afternoon, height of summer, lots of tourists in the area, very strong crew coming in, and the motor failed. If we were to have a failure and a poor sample was to go out, so not only would we get a fine from the EA for polluting, but we would also get a fine because the shelf fisheries are now out of business for a set period of time. The implications of not getting something in place quickly would cause us to use tankers, and if we were to use tankers for a continuous amount of time, you're looking at £1,200 a day. Corgin were good because they answered the phone straight away. Saturday morning, they were on their way, so by Saturday afternoon, it was all up and running.
Currently at Wheaton Aston, on 2 occasions, one of the aerators in the ditch had failed. We called Corgin up and within 24 hours they were able to supply and install a replacement surface aerator, saving on additional operational costs such as crane hire. Just couldn't do enough to help us get the site back up and running and back in compliance.
The worst case scenario if we were to lose treatment at a plant like Sale is a £1.5 million fine under the ODI matrix. It damages our reputation with the Environment Agency. It damages our public perception. So making sure we get things right every time is absolutely critical to our reputation and our business really. When we've tried to do this sort of thing in the past by bringing in temporary blowers, it's been problematic. We struggle to integrate them into our controls sometimes or our power supply. The piece of work Corgin did for us at Sale was exemplary. They were able to deploy really quickly. Everything went to plan. They turned up when they said they were going to turn up. Everything went in safely without a hitch, which is really important. And again, that was smoothed by the fact that they'd been to site, they had a plan, they knew what they were doing and where the stuff was going. They've been really proactive in developing really robust and implementable emergency and contingency plans. And now that we've used them proactively, we know that should we ever need to do that in anger, Corgin have got our back.
The benefit to having these plans already in place is that the deployment is a lot quicker, more efficient. So these contingency plans have helped us make our sites more resilient than ever. They've been reliable, they've been quick to respond, so I would absolutely recommend Corgin to other wastewater companies.
Really reassuring to know that Corgin are there on the end of the phone should the worst happen. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend Corgin to anybody else in the industry who is in need of temporary aeration solutions or even permanent aeration solutions. I've always found them to be honest, reliable, flexible.
Definitely, I would recommend Corgin.
It's brilliant to see wastewater companies acting quickly and proactively to ensure that they're ahead of the game in protecting against the reduction of treatment and against any damage to the environment.